today's podcast, we have a absolutely amazing power couple who are the world's leading experts on the topic of weight management, lifestyle medicine, and micronutrient deficiency. Dr. Jayson Calton and Mira Calton, I want to thank you so much for joining us. They've been featured on all over television,
Really?
online in multiple podcasts, and it's really an honor to have them with us to talk about vitamins. And we know how important vitamins are because in our diets there's a lot of deficiencies and it's important to take vitamins. But do we really know which ones to take, why it's really important to take them besides, nutrient deficiency, and which ones are the right ones? So I want to welcome you guys to the show and thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thrilled to be here.
I think you bring up a really interesting point. I've been in practice for 25 years, and I can tell you for the first 12 years of that, I was one of those nutritionists that just kind of said, eat well, I'll put you on a diet, exercise, and oh, by the way, you should take a multivitamin. And that was about all I knew about it. That was before, of course, I met my wife, my now wife, Mira. But when I first met Mira about 10 years ago, that's about as far as I had gotten. Take a multivitamin just for a protection. Now we know a lot more about what to look for in a multivitamin and why one off the shelf may not be your best bet.
Mm-hmm. And why is that?
Well, they're not even the same animal. I mean, when I first got osteoporosis, the doctor basically said, you can take calcium. And that was all the doctor told me. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, okay, well, there's got to be something to calcium. What is it? Why do I need it? Started doing a little bit of research and found out that not only did I need calcium, but they forgot to mention I needed magnesium, and I needed vitamin K2, and I needed boron and vitamin D, and started to learn all this. And then when we got together and we started to put the whole package together of how to supplement properly to reverse my bone disease, we realized, oh my God, there are so many problems with how things are currently formulated that no wonder nobody is getting any better. Nobody is actually putting in the time to formulate a new vitamin that's done completely different, which is what we did for me, because I was sick of taking a zillion pills a day, literally choking them down, trying to reverse my bone disease, which I did in 2 years. Only in 2 years, I went back, no osteoporosis anymore. And we actually took what we learned and we said, you know what, 4 major flaws in supplements, and we were going to get rid of all those flaws and create something that actually works.
Yeah.
What are those flaws?
So we've kind of broken it down to what we call the ABCs of optimal supplementation guidelines. And so each one of those stands for a particular flaw in the current formulation of a multivitamin. So let's start with A. A is for absorption. When the Consumer Reports did a study, they went out and they picked up like 50 multivitamins right off the shelf, and over half of them, in fact 51%, didn't even disintegrate. So if it doesn't disintegrate, how can it deliver those vitamins and minerals you think you're getting? So that's number one. You want to make sure you take a multivitamin or any supplement in a form where you can guarantee that your body could absorb, at least could absorb them. So that's why we like a powdered multivitamin or a powdered supplement that you then add to water and take in a liquid form, because that just gets rid of the whole disintegration problem. So that's A.
And then you also, in A, you have to make sure that there's no binders, fillers, excipients, sugars, preservatives. I mean, a lot of the multivitamins have like BHA and BHT, which are known carcinogens.
Yeah.
It's just like, why are you putting that in there? And sugar blocks the absorption of like vitamin C and calcium, magnesium. So why would that be in there? So we wanted to make sure it's as pure as absolutely possible. And then B is beneficial quantities and forms, because it's not just enough to appear on the supplement facts. You have to have the right amount in it, enough to actually make a difference to your body, and you have to make sure you're using the right form, because just like there's lots of pieces of gym equipment, some are that really good treadmill that you want to get on, and some are the one that like is kind of old and makes a lot of noise. Not all forms of a specific vitamin or mineral actually work well. Right. So we want to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, Centrum, they say complete from A to Z. Well, when you look on the label, how much calcium does it have in it? How much magnesium does it have in it? How much lutein does it have in it? Does it even include things like choline? How much vitamin D do they put in? So this is one of the things that we really wanted to look at with what we were doing. We knew that Mira needed 600 milligrams of calcium, because that's how much the body can absorb at one time. And we wanted to make sure she was going to at least get like 1,200 milligrams over the period of a day. And we also want to make sure she get the 400 milligrams of magnesium. You're not going to find that in your typical multivitamin, so we wanted to make sure you got that. Also, there's different forms of different things. Think about vitamin E, for example. We think vitamin E, we think alpha tocopherol. That's typically what we see on the supplement pack. Well, what about alpha, beta, gamma, and delta tocopherol, and tocotrienol? There's 8 family members in that vitamin E family. And vitamin K2. Most multivitamins don't even include vitamin K. If they do, it's form K1. There's also K2.
That's not going to help your bones.
No,
you
that doesn't
K2.
help bones, right? And there's MK4 and MK7. So it's just learning that, oh my goodness, there's all kinds of beneficial forms and quantities that are going to be left out of the mass majority of the vitamins out there. We go over all of that, and we formulated nutrients so that it has everything that you actually need.
And we're always upgrading because, science is always saying, you need a little bit more of this, or they're finding a new form that's more beneficial, like the 5-MTFH that's now available for folate. Like, you know what? We found out it was better. We swapped out what we were using. We put it in because we're small enough, and also we care about it more than a big manufacturer does. So we can actually keep making those tweaks to make it the best one possible. A lot of these multivitamin companies, we say, well, we tried to put as much magnesium and calcium as we could because that's all it would fit. Enough? I mean, what is it, like as much as we could? There's an actual amount you're supposed to have, and because we're a powder, we can actually put what you should have really into your multivitamin.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it silly for a multivitamin to say, well, we put so much in, but then if we put any more, we'd have to raise the number of capsules, and we found that, well, people don't like to take a lot of capsules, so we'll just leave it out.
That's enough. That's it. It's great.
The formulation, the powder, like Mira said, allows us to do to really add anything we want to the formulation. So that's A and B, and we go over these just in case somebody thinks, my God, I wish they'd slow down so I could understand this. We go over them in the ABCs of supplementation.com. They're free videos and people can watch. Okay. C, the most important thing in supplemental science maybe ever.
It's the game changer.
It's the game changer. It's going to be, it's called micronutrient competitions. You see, scientists knew something about vitamins and minerals that they didn't seem to want to disclose to the public. Vitamins and minerals compete or antagonize each other. You've heard about this with drugs, right? So you can go on to any of these pages on the internet and look at the antagonists for certain drugs. So you don't want to take the drug with this drug, or
grapefruit,
you don't want to take it with this vitamin. Well, it's the same thing in the vitamin mineral families, and there's about 45 known competitions between the vitamins and minerals. Well, wouldn't it make sense then that a multivitamin manufacturer would say, well, let's look at the ones that compete or detract from the absorption ability, and let's separate them. Let's get them out. Now, some multivitamin companies decided to coat them in time-released capsules or shellac, but that's just a crapshoot. They don't really know where that's going to allow for absorption in the gastrointestinal tract, and oftentimes it'll make it so that the vitamin tablets or pills don't disintegrate at all, which is another problem. So this is what we did. We mapped out 45 different micronutrient competitions. We went to the United States government and we applied for a patent. We said the only real way to guarantee that 2 vitamins or minerals that are known to compete with each other don't is to put them in completely different formulations.
Just like screaming children.
Doesn't that make sense? I mean, so if one's in an AM and one's in a PM, taking it 6 or 8 hours later, I can guarantee they're not going to compete. And so that's what we did with nutrients, and that's probably the biggest difference between nutrients and any other multivitamin on the market.
I mean, that alone will probably completely shift people's perspective about, the vitamins and minerals. Now you're like, ooh, I learned something new today.
Oh, and absolutely, and it happens more often than not. I mean, in our food, these things are natural. And a lot of people will say, well, wait a minute, they compete. How does that work with our food? Is that, how come I've never heard about this before? Well, nature is really smart. And so nature would actually put these antagonistic things in foods together to make sure that we didn't have toxic levels. So, for example, A and D are both really high in
cod liver oil.
Cod liver oil. But because A and D compete with each other, we don't have that toxicity worry.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So that's just another way of thinking. Nature did it in its infinite wisdom. But we, because we want to actually get the benefits of the supplement we're paying for, we actually have to separate them. The manufacturers of other vitamin companies throw in sometimes like 500% of the daily value or 3,333%. That's because they know there's a lot of competitions going on, and they're just hoping that some of it gets in there.
It's kind of the cross your finger and pray kind of scenario. We'll just keep throwing it in so that they get some benefit.
And then you pee yellow.
Yeah. So that's kind of like the hit it with the hammer mentality. If it doesn't work, just keep hitting it with the hammer. Well, let's just separate them. We can bring those levels down to just normal DV or RDI quantities.
Available in food usually.
Yeah, what's available in the food, right? I mean, that's really what we should be using kind of as our kind of our level. We should be saying, well, if we can get, you know, whatever it might be, 30 IU of vitamin E from our food, and that would be normal in our diet, then maybe that's okay for our supplement too. We don't necessarily need 400 or 1600 IU of vitamin E. You could never get that from food. So we want to try to balance it.
We're the only one that separate it. So that's really what it comes down to. That's what makes ours so completely different and so completely absorbable, and that's what allowed me to reverse my osteoporosis.
Yeah.
So while it was created for your osteoporosis, does this benefit a wide range of people that don't have it?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to fill in the gap for every micronutrient deficiency out there, regardless of what you're deficient in. This is going to make it possible for you to become sufficient. We have amazing results with hypertension, with weight loss. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that their cravings for sugar and salt are calcium and magnesium deficiencies. I mean, like, God like that, and people write, I don't eat ice cream every day anymore.
Almost overnight, which is really good. You know,
yeah.
I mean, it's almost immediate.
So heart disease, you know, and diabetes, every single one of these things can be made better through food first, because we want to still have a good diet, but then through taking a properly formulated multivitamin like nutrients.
Yeah.
I mean, and I love it that it tastes good and it's in a powder form. Because I used to take even probably, 6, 7 years ago when I had a lot of also health issues. And, you know, I would pile on like literally 15, 20 different supplements. And then at the end, like 3 months later, I was doing a bunch of tests and I was still deficient in everything. I'm like, what's going on? And my body could not break down these capsule forms, you know. So then I switched kind of more to tablets or powders or whatever, and I noticed the difference right away. So it makes really big difference, especially when you have issues with digestion. It's so much harder on your digestion.
Yeah.
Which almost everybody does these days.
Yeah, we had an interesting story from one of our doctors who's on our executive advisory board. Dr. Tammy was using just regular vitamin D. I think she was using 10,000 IU with her client, and she was able to get their blood levels up to right around 50. She put them on nutrients, which we only have 2,000 IU, but we have it in the anti-competition form so that it can actually be absorbed with its synergist, which is the S, which we didn't talk about yet. And she was able to get the blood level up to 75 with nutrients, even though it's only got 2,000 IU compared to 10,000. That shows just how much more absorbable just that one micronutrient is with nutrients. And, of course, we've got like 30-some micronutrients in nutrients.
Wow. Well, I appreciate the time that you guys took to really think this through.
Yeah,
and,
do it right.
And not only because I had a bunch of questions about, you answered all of them really, about the synergies between the things that you put together and then spacing things out that shouldn't go together in the morning, and then you're spacing them out so you have a dose when you get up and then one right before you go to sleep, which also builds this like habit where you know what you're taking instead of kind of guessing, which I was doing for a long time. I was just, okay, I'll take three vitamins and, hopefully,
see what happens. Yeah.
hopefully everything else that I'm taking doesn't, counteract the stuff, because it's hard to know. There's so much noise out there. It's hard to know what's really working. So I appreciate your work in actually finding the things that actually synergistically work together and then spreading them apart with the ones that don't work together, so you have the benefits at night as well. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a labor of love for us, and then also all our families and from grandparents to nieces are all on it. So we have to continue to make the best product we can.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I love it. That's the people we're always trying to look for, the ones that are passionate about it, that helping people actually go and do that deep research and then deliver us all in short pieces so we all can understand and learn something new and move on and utilize the best of the best that is out there.
Exactly. Can you speak a little bit to the sourcing of the ingredients within the nutrients?
Yeah, we actually spent a lot of time on sourcing ingredients because we want to find every single form that's the most bioavailable and
non-GMO. Very important for us.
And it's just really, it comes down to, you go to these big formulation warehouses and they'll just throw anything in. And then we're like the pickiest people and they hate working with us. But it's because of the fact that we actually are going to take our own stuff and we want to make sure. So we found out exactly what is in it, if it's the most bioavailable, all the research stuff that goes down into it.
All the natural forms, we want to use natural forms when possible. And like Mira said, with the new 5-MTHF, that was a big one. Most multivitamins haven't switched their folic acid over to that yet.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there who have a genetic flaw where they can't absorb that folic acid. So we wanted to make sure that we put an absorbable form in nutrients. So yeah, every single one of those ingredients we've sourced, we've personally looked at, we've paired them, we've separated the competitors, we've made it the best multivitamin that we can at this point, and we'll continue to improve that formulation ongoing.
That's awesome.
I love it.
So as a morning drink, kind of a personal question, I'm adding this to a big drink where I put electrolytes, I put some branched chain amino acids and lemon, and then I put a packet of the nutrients. And is that good? Bad?
Yeah.
I think
That's good.
You
Yeah.
kind of supercharge your nutrients. But yeah, that sounds fantastic. I mean, one of the big things that we want to make sure that we do have people do when they take their nutrients is have some kind of a fat source with it. And you want a fat source that's got at least has some long chain fats in it, because we want to be able to, we need that bile acid to absorb the the vitamins A, D, E, and K, as well as calcium and magnesium and the carotenoids. So they're all much more absorbed when there's a fat source. So either your fish oil pill or a coconut pill, or we've got a fat called Skinny Fat that we recommend, which is an MCT coconut blend, but something in there to get that, to be able to help with the absorption.
Awesome. Yeah, I do an MCT.
You nailed that one then.
Yeah, and cod liver oil as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yep.
Yeah.
And I love that you brought in the branched chain amino acids too. Amino acids are micronutrients, really important. So it sounds like you're doing everything perfect.
You might want to separate the cod liver oil though.
Yeah.
Don't take the cod liver oil with nutrients.
That's
the A
good.
and the D are both in there, which means that they're going to be competing with both of the different formulas.
Yeah.
So do you want to just do like 1-2 hours in between, or actually like later in the day and afternoon?
1 or 2 hours is fine, but you just want, that's one of the things that you just don't want it, because it does have the competitors right in it.
Yeah.
And there you go, learning more stuff.
So an MCT oil or coconut oil would work perfectly, yeah?
Well, MCT is only medium chains. So MCT goes right to the liver and becomes ketone bodies. So we need, that's why we use Skinny Fat as an MCT coconut blend. So we have that keto, brain boosting and energy boosting effect of MCT, but we also have the long chains of the coconut. So you want that. You want some long chain fats.
Got it. So even if they don't have the Skinny Fat, if they just took like a tablespoon of coconut oil,
would be good, or a fish oil. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Alright,
Beautiful.
awesome.
Any other suggestions, recommendations to boost the effects of the vitamins that we're taking?
Well, we just want to make sure that some people will say that, what time do I have to take it, and am I supposed to take it right before bed or anything like that. Our most important thing is that you take it, and we want to make sure that people understand that you don't have to wait until right before bed to take your PM dose, because a lot of people forget it then. So it's just about creating a habit for yourself. So if you're a person who goes to the gym late in the afternoon and you like to drink it while you're working out, bring it then. If you're a person who cooks dinner for the family, then have it at that time. Just make sure you're having it at the same time every day, so you can build a really healthy habit for yourself.
Yeah, I love taking it to the gym. I think it makes a great hydration. You should be drinking water anyway. You're taking in all the micronutrients. We put a little bit of we put a little bit of Skinny Fat in there too, so you have the extra energy from the MCT. So it's like an energy, micronutrient hydration drink, which is great.
And I make it into Jell-O for kids, for my nieces.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's smart.
That's a great way to get nutrients in the kids.
It's super tasty too, so it should
tasty.
be really easy for kids to enjoy.
Yeah, 4 different flavor sets, so there's one for everyone, and so that's the cool thing about it, is everyone has really different flavor tastes. We realized that when we were doing flavors. So there's one for everyone out there.
Yep.
Right on. Well, I think we hit all the points. We need a vitamin that is absorbable, that works together synergistically, and then you can separate it. It doesn't compete, so we can separate those and take one in the morning, one at night. One thing I would recommend is don't drink it right before bed, because you'll wind up getting up in the middle of the night going to pee.
We tested that one.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. Now our new formulas, our lime strawberry and our chocolate vanilla, are only need 4 to 8 ounces of water. So if you're one of these people who have that problem, you can use one of those. Our original, the Tropical Twist and Citrus Splash, is a 16-ounce hydration drink, so you don't want to do it with that one.
Not
Yeah, not before bed.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your guys' time. We have a discount for those of you that are listening to get this, and I'm sure you're going to want to because it's the best vitamin out there. So grab
Give it
yours.
a try. Yep. Click the link below that we have and enjoy the best that is out there. And actually let us know how you like it.
Yep.
We always love to get some feedback from you guys. So.
Exactly. Until next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.